What's up guys, Chris Schwartz-Edmisten here from Schwartz-Edmisten Web Design. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the 5 mistakes that Squarespace web designers make when they're first starting out adding CSS to Squarespace. So let's jump right in. First mistake I see Squarespace web designers make that are new to CSS is using the block IDs to target every single element. So when I go into a lot of Squarespace web designer sites to help them with their CSS, this is kind of, the look that I see. I see a ton of block IDs and they're all kind of doing the same thing. Now, I think the reason for this is because of the Squarespace Chrome extension, the block identifier extension, and it makes it very easy to find the block ID for each one of these elements. But the problem is it's just not the best way to be writing CSS. Block IDs are just very inefficient, and we can write this CSS in a much more concise way. So right now this is 20 lines of CSS, and we can take it down to like about 5 lines of CSS. So instead of using block IDs to change all of these text blocks colors yellow, what we can do instead is I'll just go ahead and comment this out. And what we'll do instead is limit our CSS to this one section by targeting the data section ID. I do have a tutorial on that on my channel that you can check out for a little more detail, but I'm just going to go ahead and copy this data section ID, paste it inside of some brackets. That's how you target data elements in CSS. And now we've limited any CSS that we write in here to this one section. And now I can target H2s, H3s, and paragraphs and change their color to yellow. So this is the proper way of writing CSS. It did the same thing. It's no different, but it's much more concise and much easier to manage. I mean, this is just changing a couple text blocks yellow in one section. Imagine the CSS, if everything was written this way for a whole site, I mean, you'd have thousands of lines of CSS and it would be impossible to manage. So this way it's nice and concise. And we're not relying on block IDs to change, all the elements on our site. Now, the second mistake that I see Squarespace web designers make when they're new to CSS is just not targeting the correct element. Now, when you rely on the Squarespace block identifier, it can be a little bit misleading when you're writing styles. So for example, if I want to change this button styling here in this section, what I would do if I was new is probably click my identifier, copy the block ID, paste it into my custom CSS window, and then I would start writing my styling for the button. So for example, I want the color to be black and I want the background color to be yellow. And then you go, wait, what the heck? Why didn't that work? Well, it's because we're not targeting the correct element. The Chrome extension makes us feel like we're targeting the right element, but if you actually look at the structure of the button, we're not targeting the correct element. So I'm going to hide this and let's look at the actual structure of the button. So if I right click and click inspect, it'll bring us right to the element that we clicked on. And in this case, we clicked on the A, which is the element type for link. And here we can see this is where the actual styling on the button is defined. So originally we were styling the button container that contains the block ID, but that's not where the button styling is defined. It's defined on the link itself. So it can be a little bit misleading when you rely on that block identifier. And a lot of times I see Squarespace web designers are not targeting the correct elements. So how can we kind of get around that? Well, the best thing to do is when you click inspect to try and get as close to that element as possible. Like, for example, I right-clicked right on the text of the button and it took me right to the link here. And then I could see, oh, this is where the color for the button is, the background color and the border color. So I can see over here, if these styles are present on this element, I know that I'm going to be targeting the correct element. Now, so how can we target this element? Well, right now they're targeting it with a class of bright, which comes from the section's background color. So we get the section has a class of bright, and then they're targeting the class of .sqs block button element. So you'll see this link here has a class of SQS block button element medium and also a class of SQS block button element. So these are the classes that we could use if we wanted to change the background color for this element. So I'm just going to copy everything over here. And again, we don't need any of these grayed out styles. We only need the active styles, the top two. But I'm going to copy everything. We'll get rid of this since that was incorrect styling. We can paste that in there. Then we'll get rid of everything except for the two active classes that we need. And now if we were to change the background color to yellow, it's actually changing the background color of the button. Now this would be changing the background color for every buttons that have this bright color style. So let's say I only wanted to change the color of this one button. Well, that would be a good opportunity to use the Squarespace block identifier because we can get the block ID for just this one button. So then we can get rid of the bright class. We don't need that anymore. And we'll just paste in that block ID. And now you can see within this block button element container, we're then targeting the link that has a class of SQS block button element. So this is the proper targeting for just this one button. So again, to summarize, just right click as close to the element as you can, look for the styles in the inspector to see if those styles are declared on that element. If they are, then you know that you're targeting the correct element. Copy those styles over, and then you can update those styles in your custom CSS window. Mistake number 3 that I see a lot is not writing specific enough CSS. So going back to this button example, if I right click and click inspect, we can see that there are two classes that are styling this button. We have the .bright that we looked at earlier that's coming from the section, and then we have the actual element itself, this class of SQS block button element. So we have two classes that are styling this button. So if I'm new to web design, if I'm new to CSS on Squarespace, and I only use this one class to try and target this element, so I see, oh, this element has a class of SQS block button element. I'm going to try and target that. So I'm going to change the background color to yellow. Wait, why isn't my styling applying? It's because the CSS that we just wrote is less specific than the styling that is already applying from the style sheet that Squarespace has. So basically, our style is not more specific than what is already on that element. So you can see our background color here, it's applying to the element, but it's not getting rendered. It's being crossed out because it's not more specific than the styling that Squarespace is applying. So this is a common problem, and it can be really frustrating because you know you're targeting the right element, but it's still not applying. So what you can do just to test that you are indeed targeting the correct element is just go ahead and add an important tag, and that'll tell you, okay, so it is applying once I add the important tag, the style just isn't specific enough. So what do you have to do? Well, you just have to match the specificity that Squarespace has. So they're using two classes to target this element. So all you have to do is add another class to target this element. Now you can add another class on the element itself. For example, we could target the SQS block button element small or button element medium class. I'm having a heck of a time selecting it. I'm just going to select it with my keyboard. So I can also use this class in addition to my class that I'm already using to target it. And that will match the specificity of Squarespace by using two classes. Or I could use some class farther up the tree. So I could use its parent element class. So for example, every button block gets a class of button block. So I could use that instead. And you'll notice when you're using multiple classes on a single element, you don't create a space. So it's one class and then you go immediately into the next class. If you're going to use an ancestor element, you create a space. So we'll do image depth. What do I want? Button block. Button dash block. And so now you can see we create a space. So within the button block container, we're styling the SQS block button element. So you can see we match the specificity of Squarespace, and now our styling is applying. The fourth mistake that I see is overusing important tags. So it's related to number 3, which we just talked about. And it's not writing specific enough CSS and relying on the important tag to make the style render. So the important tag should actually be used as a last resort. So this is sort of like lazy CSS, when we only use one class to target an element that actually needs 2 classes, and then we just use the important tag to override it. The problem with that is if we then want to do additional styles, write additional styles on button blocks, we then have to always include this important tag, otherwise our style won't render. So then you have important tags overriding important tags, overriding important tags. Everything has an important tag, and suddenly, nothing is actually important. So it's sort of a lazy way of writing CSS. Now, they have their place. Sometimes you have to use an important tag. For example, when an element has an inline style. So if you inspect an element and it has a style up here, that means that it has a style declared inline. And the only way to override an inline style is to use an important tag. So for example, on this paragraph text here, it has a text align of center, and that's written inline. The only way that we could override that CSS is by using an important tag. So for example, this text align center here, let's go ahead, we'll use the block ID to target only this one block. And you see, I'm not against using block IDs, but I'm against only using block IDs, and that's an important difference. So now we can write text align, and we'll align it to the left, but my styling isn't applying because it's not more specific than an inline style. There's nothing more specific than an inline style, so it just gets crossed out here. So if we then have to add our important tag, and now our text will be aligned to the left. So the important tag absolutely has a place, and don't be afraid to use the important tag. But if you're styling an element and every single property declaration that you're making is requiring an important tag, then it probably just means that you need to add some more selectors to make your CSS more specific. So that calls back to number 3, which we just talked about. So mistake number 4 is relying on the important tag too much. The important tag should only be used as a last resort. Mistake number 5, our final mistake, is not commenting your CSS. If we were to come back to this CSS in a month, this wouldn't really mean anything to us. And that is not a good thing, because your site is going to evolve over time. It's going to require different CSS. It's going to require older CSS to be updated. And so you don't want to just lose CSS and then have to overwrite CSS constantly. You want to be aware of everything that your CSS is doing. So that's where commenting your CSS is really important. The worst thing for me is when someone adds me to their site to help them with their CSS, and it just looks like this, because a whole bunch of block IDs doesn't mean anything. How am I supposed to go through the whole website and identify exactly where that block ID came from? I mean, there's thousands of block IDs on a website. So it's really important when you're writing your CSS to make sure that you're commenting your CSS, and make it as specific as you can. So for example, all of these changes that we're making here are being made to this journal section. So what I would do is whenever I make a section, whenever I'm writing CSS for a certain section, I write line, dash, 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 and then I give the name of the section. So this is journal section on homepage. So this is very descriptive. And these dashes just kind of make it a good like dividing separator here. So now like this is clearly, okay, all of this here is being written for this one section. Now I'm just going to comment this out because this is our bad CSS, but you could see like if I came back to this and even tomorrow, like I wouldn't know exactly what all of this is doing. Okay. So it's really important to section off your sections that you're writing CSS for. And then at the end of the section, I'll just go ahead and then write end. So end the journal section on homepage. And then I like to keep these all on one line. Okay, so there we go. So now we can see, okay, all of this CSS is specifically for this one section. And just to make sure that all of this CSS is only applying to this one section, we'll want to make sure that all of our CSS is within this data section ID curly bracket. So I'll just drop that down at the bottom. And now all of this CSS is truly only applying to this one section. So here we're making text, right, // text in section yellow. So now I know, okay, this is all of the text in the section is being turned yellow. So this is my button BG yellow. Okay, cool. I can see my button blocks in this section are being turned yellow. And then what is this? Okay, so this is the flowers paragraph left aligned. So now I can see, okay, so this is the flowers paragraph and it's being left aligned. So if I were to come back to this even in a month, I could very easily see, okay, this is the journal section on the homepage. Oh, okay, this is turning all the text in the section yellow. Okay, this is turning all the button blocks background yellow. And this is left aligning, what? Okay, this flowers paragraph here. So making sure that you're commenting your CSS is really, really important, especially if you're new to CSS, because it's going to be really easy to get overwhelmed and kind of lose track of all the CSS that you're writing. So really make sure that you follow some sort of commenting system. You can copy mine like this. Sections get this sort of commenting system, and then individuals don't get the dashed lines. They just get a // So again, make sure that you are commenting your CSS. So those are the 5 mistakes that I see Squarespace web designers make when they're new to CSS. Hopefully this brings some clarity around some of those issues. Maybe you were, writing things some way and you're going to think about things differently. That's my goal. So I have a link to a free 4-day CSS course in the description below this video. I highly recommend you check that out. It kind of delves into some of these ideas in more detail. And then after you finish that course, you might be ready for my custom layouts in Squarespace course. It's a little bit more advanced, but it goes over some really cool layouts. So definitely at least check out that free CSS course in the description below. I think it's really going to be helpful for you. All right, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.